really think that it makes sense, it is very important, and we didn't think much about what we will do and how we will do it. We just started to work with kids, and I can say that we work with kindergarten kids, with preschoolers, then first to fourth graders, then fifth to eighth graders, then college and university students. So I'm not going to wait for a technical part. You can get the presentation. So I will just go briefly through them, and then I would like to say what we've learned from them, because I think that's the most important. We worked with preschoolers in a way that we went to kindergartens, bring some ingredients, and make sweets or breakfast with kids. And they really enjoyed it because they were involved. So it was very simple, easy, fluently to work anything with them. So we talked about the few ingredients, how they feel about them, do they know what is used for. So try to connect it to their experience before and give them experience in like a short class. Then what happened after that? Kindergartens called us and said, you know, parents heard what you did, can you do the lecture for parents? So that was probably another way, not from parents to kids, but from kids to parents. And that's something that we also have to be aware of. Then another project that we do regularly in Makronova, it's something called the Little Cooking School, that we work as classes with kids from 7 to 13-year-old. It's a class with maximum 10 kids. It's a hands-on, and they cook with the teacher. And they cut, they use fire, then they use different cooking styles. They are introduced to all wholesome plant-based ingredients. And they learn how to manage in the kitchen, how to recognize different wholesome food. We also try to develop the how to say, relation to food, yeah? To see that not just something that we use, but that we can be in connection with. And also, that is a kind of additional thing, they also learn how to be present at the moment, because when you are cutting, you know, you can't be somewhere else. And we also noticed that, I'm sorry, it's just, well, never mind, I have that in my head. So we also noticed that kids are eating what they don't usually eat at home. So the parents, when they come to pick them, they are surprised that they eat broccoli or other green vegetables or carrot or pumpkin or something they don't usually eat at home. Then kids are more interested in food when they are involved. They want to do it more because that is play for them, not something that their parents said, you know, that's healthy, you have to eat it. They don't have a concept of healthy when you just tell them it's healthy, you have to eat it, but when they have experience with ingredients. And something that I see as also important, that doesn't have to do so much with food, but has with other skills and virtues. Those kids learn how to work in teams, because they have to prepare all the things together. Then we notice kids who have attention problems or hyperactivity, they function very well in those groups. And the kids that have low self-esteem issues, they also function great in those groups. And we weren't even aware of that, but the parents said that as their experience when they talk with kids after the classes. And I think that there is some things that probably we never thought about earlier, that something as food and cooking can also be, let's say, like a play field to learn some other skills and virtues. And variation of this program, that little cooking school that we do in the holiday season, that when kids are not in school, we make a combination of yoga class or some other activity, then cooking lunch together. They decide as a group what will they cook. So we prepare ingredients, but we ask them what would you like to make. So they had another aspect of being involved in decision. And then at the end we have a kind of storytelling, like a little closure, and then kids react to that very, very well. With little bit older, young people, I can't say kids anymore, we do a program that is called Macro Weekend. That is one of our oldest seminars. That's something that Zlatko and Jadranka started with. And we developed option for younger people. When I said option for younger people, just to talk in their language, let's say. So this is directly microbiologic philosophy and practice for them. Yeah? So it's a weekend seminar with a part that is dedicated to principles and philosophy, and the practical aspect like breathing exercises, doing, and cooking according to microbiotic principles. What we noticed is that mostly people who enroll are the young people who want to find out if there is something more than what they usually can hear or learn about. And as well, there are more and more young people who are becoming vegetarian or vegan and want to learn more about it and want to feel, not to feel different, just to see that there are more people like them, especially young people like them. And they usually like some of them like more the practical aspect of microbiological principles, and some of them want to learn more about philosophy, but the food is something they are almost everybody interested in. Then there is one project that it's not us who came up with it, but it came from society, that is very good. It's called High Five, Play Away to Health. It included several activities, and we took part in one that was dedicated to basic values of organic food and plant farming. So it happened on organic farm Zrno, where kids had opportunity to experience all the way from the seed, through story and through examples from seed, to the final plant, and at the end the lunch they made out of the ingredients they were growing on a farm. So as well, they also had some parts with exercise, but the most aspect was on the food. What we like as well is when initiative comes from kids and young people. And one example is tailor-made programs that we make for high school students. One of the recent examples is from one high school. It's a third grade, so it's a 17-year-old young people. Their teacher called us and she said, you know, she's I don't know how to explain, how to translate it, like a physical activity class that is connected to physical activity in school, and she also leads that whole group of pupils. And she said that I'm getting more and more questions about food from them. In a way, they notice that there's a poor food options in school cantina. Then girls are considered about overweight, cellulite. They see that it's connected to their habits and their food they eat. Then boys were more concerned about sport activity and performance, and they see that they can't get enough energy from the food they usually eat. So we made a class for them. It's an example of what we usually do. And they were a little bit curious, but at the same time a little bit skeptical. But then at the end they were really surprised with so many options. And when we talk about nutrition, we always talk about plant-based nutrition. So they were curious, they were sorry, it's an English thing, I'm Croatian and English, sorry. They were actually amazed on how many options do you have with plant-based food. Because before they thought it's about what you don't eat, but it actually, what we try to present is what it's a really huge variety. And that was funny thing, they were especially surprised with the breakfast options, because what they thought is a breakfast is a piece of bread and a piece of cheese or salami. So when we told them about different options, and they were really surprised with that. And now we extended it to other meals as well, but it was funny with this group what was the most surprising for them. And as well, they mostly knew about organic as an aspect in food, but they lack information about wholesome food, you know, because they are used to highly refined food, and they admitted themselves that the first thing that they go and buy for a lunch or something is a piece of pastry or some biscuits or anything which are really high refined. Yeah. So it shows that the only meal they have cooked is one at home, probably dinner. So actually 2 or 3 meals a day are not very good choice. So we try to give them some opportunities which they can prepare themselves or choose themselves, or know how to manage to make a better choices. And last age group is university students at Zagreb's University for Nutritional Sciences. They have one, we call it optional course, where students can choose what they would like to learn about. So on one every year practice, we have a group from university that wants to learn about microbiotics. And we're really happy to have them actually. So we make a class for them where we can mostly talk about food aspect, but we also introduce the whole lifestyle concept. And they are mostly surprised that microbiotics is not just about food, because what they learned is that it's one of the food trends. Yeah. So, as a conclusion, what I said at the beginning, we think that working with kids and youth makes lots of sense. I don't have any doubt about it. And what we noticed that kids and young people accept natural lifestyles more easily, more fluently, with less questions than probably some of the older age. And what is also important, they learn from experience and from example. So that's what we need to give them. And they understand more than we can realize. I always remember one example when we worked with one third grade, so it's like 9 to 10 years old kids, and they have a project that was going through several days, and then they made their own food pyramid, and they explained different food and etc. And I remember one example when one kid put chips, you know, like something like that, and he wrote down what is in that chips, they can't stop eating it. So that was for me a good example that he realized that there must be something in it, like added, that makes him eat it more and more. Yeah. So it would never come to our minds to explain it in that way, but he made a concept of that. So kids can surprise us. As well, what I already said, kids can share their influence to their families, and that's something that we have to be aware of. And you know that when it's about kids, you will do whatever it takes most of the time. So when there is impulse from them, I think we have to appreciate it. As well, as already said, All About Food can be a play field to learn some other skills, to support kids with a low self-esteem, with the kids that have probably attention issues or some things, because there is something that makes them focused, make them involved, make them make their own experience. We will always say yes to all initiatives that include kids. Most of them we work pro bono, I would say almost all of them. Only that little cooking school is with a symbolic commission of parents, and that macro weekend thing is something that also has commission. All other things that we do is pro bono, thanks to sponsorship in ingredients. And that's something that we will always do. What we are trying to do now is write projects that we can apply for funding and to make larger influence. Just a short notice about social system in Croatia. It speaks about the importance of healthier food choices. We even have standards, but the practice is something else. There is a note in the standards that it is very similar to what we teach and what we talk about importance of diversity in food choices, about wholesome food, about source of food, about moderation in food intake, etc., to avoid diabetes in kids, to avoid overweight and many other problems, but the practice is different. They still have a breakfast that is bread, cheese and salami. They still have fruit yogurt with loads of sugar. And what is changing a bit by bit is that some kindergartens cook more. Yeah? Don't get processed food, but try to cook more and more. As well, this may be a little bit egocentric, but as we are pioneers in education on sustainable lifestyles, we are free to take credit for some projects that are going on now in Croatia. That actually some of them are, I missed the word again, performed by people who are at some time educated through Macronova as well. One of them that I first can remember is in Split, that is in Dalmatia, at the seaside, where one non-governmental organization made a project that included all first graders in Split. They had a project that is hard to translate because they had symbolic name, but it's like what do you have to do to be healthy, and what do you do when you get sick? So it's also about food, about exercise, about lifestyle itself. And the latest project that I think it's really great and that it's also holistic, thank you Anna, is also in Dalmatia on islands. So it's a part of Croatia that is sometimes a little bit forbidden when it's about kids and the educational system. All first graders as well, first and two graders, are getting lunches that are made, lunches made from ingredients that are grown or local organic farms. So there is one also non-governmental organization that made it as a program, get funds for that, so that is both benefit for kids and benefit for those local organic producers. Yeah, and I think that's also something that is very important. And as well, at the end, I'm really looking forward to hear what are your experiences. Do you have any, is there anything that we can exchange to help each other? Because in everything that we do, I think that we also have to think about youngsters that are coming after us. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just want to say one thing. Now in Portugal, they made a law that is obligatory that every school, prison, and hospital have option, vegetarian option. Okay. I also start to teach in a part of the country with schools, but teach the cooks to cook vegetarian for kids. And the feedback was amazing. People really understand it. And first they wanted to take from them and from their families, and then apply to the school. It was really nice. When they taste the food, they start, wow, they became very nice. Yeah.
Mostly people are amazed with richness. So this is also our way to take away prejudices about plant-based food, like.
It's something that
Yeah.
the people used to say to me, I already see television that
Yeah.
meat is not good and you don't know